and welcome to another episode of Cosmic Conversations. I am your host, Marla Martenson, and I'm so excited to have with me today Michael J. Tamura. He is a celebrated spiritual teacher, clairvoyant visionary, and award-winning author of the book, You Are the Answer. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. It's great to be here on the show with you, Marla.
Thank you. Well, you guys, I met Michael at the screening of the film PGS, Your Personal Guidance System, Bill Bennett's wonderful documentary about his journey and finding out what intuition is, and Michael was featured in that. Wasn't that an awesome film?
Yeah, it's an amazing film. We've been doing lots of screenings and Q&As. That was in Los Angeles that I met you, I think. Yeah.
It was. And, I walked in, I was sitting there and I turned around and saw you and you just smiled and gave me a big hug. And I was like, who is this amazing guy? So I had to know more, and I loved you in the film. And then when you mentioned that you've had three near-death experiences?
Well, 3 full-on ones. And after the third one, the cardiologist decided, well, in order to keep this guy alive, we're going to have to put one of those ICDs. It's a little device. I call it my paramedics in a box. Okay. And it's in my chest. And so it's a computer that monitors to see if the heart stops. If it does, then it zaps me like those paddles.
Okay, right.
And it's the paddles and kickstarts the heart. So I went twice that way, but the zapping brought me back within seconds.
Oh, wow. Now, when was your first near-death experience? How many years ago?
That was July of 2004.
Okay.
And that one was just, I was in excruciating pain from gout. Do you know what gout is?
Oh, yes, I know so many people with gout lately.
Yeah. Well, this one was the mother of all gouts.
Whoa. Was it in your big toe, or where was it?
Oh, no. It was every joint, every little crack, and even in the sutures in my skull.
Oh, my God.
Even in my bones in my ear. It was everywhere. There wasn't a single place in my body that wasn't in excruciating pain. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's called traveling gout. It travels around.
Okay.
So it got so bad, and it was just going on and on and on. And I was lying in the bed, and it's one of those things where lying down doesn't help, standing up doesn't help, walking doesn't help, sitting doesn't. They're all bad.
Yes.
So Raphael was gone doing some errands, and I was by myself in the bedroom, and I'm going, I don't know how much longer I can handle this. You know, it's just, I can't function. And it was just so painful. And then, boop, I'm pulled out.
The body. Okay.
Yeah.
At your house, on your bed, you left your body. Okay.
And I'm pretty sure my heart just stopped, gave out. But I was escorted to this beautiful, what I thought of as a heavenly boardroom.
Okay, yeah.
You know, those boardrooms with a beautiful wooden, long table where everybody sits around?
Yeah.
Well, I was given a seat to sit there. There's 5 magnificent beings sitting around me and one side of this long table. And they all welcomed me. They said, welcome. We've been expecting you. And basically they said, you're done. You've done way more than you've contracted for. And so you're free. You can stay here with us. And of course I knew I was going to continue my work here or there. And they said, you can continue your work from this side as a spirit guide and a spiritual teacher. Or you're free to go back if you like. And at that point, when you're out, there's not even a concept of death, right? There's no pain. It's eternity. Yeah. So I'm just really happy to be there. And so I said, I'm looking at these 5 magnificent beings of wisdom, masters, and I said, okay, well, in your combined wisdom, which do you think would be more beneficial, not just to myself, but to anyone involved with me in my life? If I stay here and work as a spirit guide, or if I go back and continue in the physical. And they didn't even pause. Instantly, all 5 of them unanimously said, oh, if you go back, you'll be so much more beneficial to everyone.
Okay.
So I said, okay. When there's no pain at all, it's like, sure.
And were you thinking, though, I'll go back in my body, but it's so riddled with gout and pain that were you thinking, maybe not, or?
Yeah, well, that's not even in my consciousness.
It wasn't in your head, okay.
It's gone. It's not nothing. That's not me. That's not anything. But then they said, fine, okay, we'll send you back. So they sent me back with the same escort. And as soon as I start to go toward back to the body, I remember, oh, yes, the body.
Right. Then you're like, oh, crap.
Excruciating pain. Right. Okay, let's see. So the last thing I said, I turned back as I'm being sent back, is I think I'm going to need some help in healing. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't be of benefit to anybody, including myself.
Right.
And so I heard, the last thing I heard from them was, fine.
Okay.
Okay. I come back to the body. It's like a kickstart, and I can feel my heart just going ding. And then I'm aware of the pain, even though it's a little bit less because the energy with which I came back was so great that it's just like, it's down to a minimal level, but I can tell it's there. Yeah. And the condition of my health was still there. So, but then immediately I go to the computer. This is spiritual healing and growth in the high-tech age.
Yes.
Go to the computer and type in uric acid. And so I said, I've researched this until I'm sure I can have a PhD in it. Yeah. And they said, no, just go type it in again. And I type it in, same old stuff I'm seeing down the regular screen. Then something catches my attention on the advertisement column side.
Right.
And the first ad I've never seen before. And I clicked onto that, and that got me started on finding some real answers on how to heal myself of this.
Yeah.
So
now,
it took about a year.
It took about a year. Well, so was your wife still out of the house where you died and came back?
Yes.
She didn't even know. You were just there all alone doing all this.
Oh, yeah. I told her about it.
You're like, hey, honey, I died when you were out getting groceries or whatever.
Yes. Honey, I just dropped dead, but I came back.
Yeah. She must have flipped out. Oh, my God.
Yeah, she wasn't that happy with me. But the second one, see, once that one was a completely different, well, every death is different. Every death I've had this time is completely different experience. Every death that I recall from my previous lifetimes, very different. And every death that I know of other people, they've had different experiences. So death is different for everybody every time, depending on where you're at. But the second time, a lot of people ask me, well, gee, if you decided to come back and everybody's in agreement, why is it that you had to die again?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I had to die. I don't know if I had to die the first time even. But that was a great, quick, and easy way to get the communication, make the decision, and I came back. So the second time was a little bit of a surprise, especially because the night before, Raphael and I were at a birthday party. Another healer friend of ours was giving a birthday party to another healer author friend of ours in Oregon. So we drove up, had a great time, but somebody found out that my birthday was going to be in 4 days. And so they said, hey, it's Michael's birthday in 4 days too. So somebody snuck out of the party, went and got another cake, put all those candles on. And at my age, hey, that's a lot of candles. It's like a forest fire. And so then when they sang the other guy's birthday song, and he blew out his candles and everything, and then they start singing all over again. And they bring my cake out. And so that was a surprise, nice surprise. Yeah. And so then the woman is holding the cake in front of me with the forest fire. And she goes, okay, Michael, well, you know what to do. You have to make a wish. Close your eyes, make a wish, and blow out the candles. Okay. So I dutifully close my eyes. And I'm having a good time. And I'm going, okay, what shall I ask for? What's my wish? And all of a sudden, my mind goes complete empty. Mm-hmm. It's not like frozen or anything. It's just complete peace, complete emptiness. Not a thought, not anything, just total peace. And then from the center of this comes this tremendous golden light, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I get, embody the Christ. Wow. And I thought, what a great birthday wish. So I said to myself, okay, I'll go for that. Mm-hmm. Let's embody the Christ more. Yeah. And I opened my eyes, blew out the candles, everybody clapped and sang happy birthday, and that was that. Mm-hmm. Well, meanwhile, Raphael was, probably about 50 feet away, talking with the host, who's a healer. And she's looking, and she said she got scared. She got cold and scared because when I blew out the candle, she saw me leave. Oh, wow. And she was seeing the future, but not too far down where I was going to leave again. And so then she didn't like that. She didn't tell me about this until after I left. Right. But in the meantime, this healer friend of ours tells her about this whole experience, about when he had a heart attack. And he locked himself in his healing sanctuary, wouldn't let the paramedics come to him, because he knew he just had to heal himself. Right. And he did. He was still alive, and he never went to the hospital. Raphael's going, why is he telling me this story? At a birthday party even. Yeah. And so she was uneasy. Well, we went home that night and went to sleep and everything. I had a good night's sleep. Well, before I woke up, I'm in total bliss in spirit. Yeah. And then I'm being kind of called back to my body, and I'm waking up in this total state of bliss. Mm-hmm. Just infinite, endless bliss. And so I'm aware enough of the body in this world that, I'm back in the body, sort of, and there's a bed here. Mm-hmm. And then I hear in the background Raphael feeding the dog and the cat and everything, clanking in the kitchen. And then all of a sudden I remember, today's Monday, and I have an important meeting. This man from Israel came to see me, and I have to be there at 10 o'clock. So I decide I better get up, so I'm getting up. I get up, and next thing, my world turns upside down, inside out. I don't know what's going on. It's like this tornado. I'm in the middle of this tornado with the Kundalini. I was aware of that part. The Kundalini's going full on, and it's just like, whoa. And just then, Raphael comes in to the bedroom, and she's very concerned. She goes, Michael, are you having a heart attack? And I go, I don't think so. Of course, I never had one, so I don't know. And I checked myself because I used to be, when I was a teenager, for 3 years, I was a nurse. And so I'm going back to way back when, what's the symptomology of a heart attack? Well, the layperson symptomology was always taught to us as it feels like an elephant sitting on your chest. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting this cartoon pink elephant sitting on my chest. He's really cute. And I'm kind of laughing to myself. I said, no, if an elephant really was sitting on my chest, I'd be flat.
Right.
I wouldn't feel a thing. So I thought, okay, what's the medical symptomology? And I'm going, oh, that's radiating pain, crushing chest pain. I didn't have any radiating pain on the left side. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a crushing chest pain. If anything, pain was more on the right side and in my back and up my head and everything, but the left arm. So I thought, no, I don't think it's a heart attack. I just think it's this Kundalini gone wild. And I said, could you give me a healing? I'm going to get dressed and get ready and everything. Would you just kind of take a look? But the animals are going nuts in our house. They knew something was way off. And I came out, and the amazing thing, Raphael says, I came out into the living room, start walking around in circles, chanting the Jewish prayer of the dead.
Wow. And you didn't know that before, right? You didn't know it. No.
Jewish.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know any Jewish prayers, and I don't speak Hebrew or anything.
Were you doing it in Hebrew?
Yeah, she said it was, and this was way later on, she told me about it, and I said, how did you know? You don't know Hebrew. And she said, well, the funny thing, just a few days before that happened, on TV, I saw a whole documentary, where they did that. This person, I don't know if it was a rabbi or whatever, chanted the Jewish prayer for the dead. Mm. And she remembered it, and what's coming out of your mouth, she said, was exactly the same. Same intonation, everything.
Right.
And I was going to go see a man from Israel.
Right. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, so I go outside. I said, I got to go get some sunshine. I got to see the grass, green grass. It was spring or summer. And I go out there, and I collapse on the lawn. My head is on the grass, and all I see is this green. And then I go out. This wasn't my near-death experience. That's not when, I don't think my heart stopped. Okay. I was still breathing and everything. But I'm out, totally out of my body, above, maybe 15 feet above my head. And my body's kind of crumpled up on the grass. And I'm surrounded by the same 5 beings, plus about 7 more. 12 beings all the way around. And I'm in the center. And I see them, I recognize them, I go, thank God. They're here to save me, right? Yeah. Oh, these are masters that are going to swoop in and save me. No, they back away. they take like 10 steps back. They don't go away, but they're going back. And it was very clear. They're saying, we're here for you, but we can't intervene.
And just to find out people might be wondering, as I am, what were these beings? Did they look like people? Did they look like angels? Did they look just luminescent? Did they look like humans? How did they look?
Yes, they're this is my experience when I come to these types of beings. They look like beings of brilliant light to start with. No, body, face, and all that. And then, after a few moments, so to speak, they start to show themselves, appear as these were robed figures. Okay. And there were few females, mostly males, in various beautiful, exquisite robes of different colors, different patterns, with tremendous light emanating from each one. Uh-huh. And so some of them were those I'm very familiar with because I work with them in my meditation and healing space and whatnot. And they're guides who guide me. Yeah. And others, I was familiar with them, but not as closely. And when they walk back, it's like, okay, we're here to support you, but this is your time. You must make one of the most important decisions in your life. Okay, I've already made the decision to be back from the last one, and that's more like, in regular people's language, from the body's perspective, do I live or do I die? It's that kind of a decision. And I realized, no, that decision's long gone, because I know without a shred of doubt, there is no death, and for any of us. And so that's not the question. Life or death is a person who doesn't know that there is no death can ask that question and they get freaked out.
Yeah.
But that's not a question. So what's my question at this time that's so important?
Yeah.
So here, I'm still dealing with this, now I know, going through a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. Right.
and it's very tough to make decisions when you're in that space.
Yeah.
But I'm out of the body enough, having the support of these beings enough, that I'm going, okay, what is it? And I start to look at, okay, most of the people would think about, well, I don't want to die if I still have things to do.
Right.
Or I don't want to live and be here in the physical if it's going to be too painful, or if I'm going to be incapacitated, or, a vegetable or something like that. And I'm thinking about those things, and I said, well, what happens if the decision I have to make is about no death?
Right.
What then is a decision? And all of a sudden, boom, it hits me. Oh, I have never yet made the decision to live an eternal life. Even knowing there's no death, well, I know there's reincarnation.
Okay.
So I'm still was living the life from birth till I leave. Even though there's death, I'm leaving.
That linear life, that
That's
ego-based
right.
linear life, yeah.
So the light bulb went on. I have to make a decision whether I'm ready to live the eternal life. Then I have to look at, what does that mean in practical terms?
Right, what does that mean?
That means I have to choose life, period. Regardless, whether if I come back here into the physical and I'm incapacitated and I have to be taken care of by somebody else the rest of my life, is that going to be okay? If I die, is that going to be okay? After I made the commitment, a new commitment to come back here to do a whole new thing, then, I was already finished with the other life. Is that going to be okay? Or am I going to be looking over my shoulders, gee, I really goofed up?
Right.
So then it became very difficult. What if I'm blind if I come back?
Yeah.
What if I can't talk?
Right.
So I'm going, okay, I don't like any of those options, but this is a choice I'm either going to have to make now or later.
Yeah.
So why wait? I'll make it now.
Okay.
And I just kind of meditated for a moment, and I said, okay, whatever happens, this means I have to live an unconditional life. I can't be going, oh, it's raining today, so I'm not going to do anything.
Right.
Oh, I am experiencing pain, so I'm not going to do anything. I can't do that. I have to use my creativity and live regardless of what condition.
So really stepping into everything that, all of your gifts and everything you're meant to do in the body is what you really had to commit to. If
Yes.
you came back, right.
Yeah, if I come back, which I knew I was going to. So when I come back, I'm going to have to live regardless of the condition of my existence.
Okay.
And I have to live it fully.
Right.
So that was very scary.
Yes.
That was not an easy decision. And I got back, and as soon as I got back, I'm back in the body. What I now know as the heart attack was still going on.
Okay.
But I had more energy. I had a lot more energy. And amazing thing, how spirit works, is there's always plan B. When you're committed, you got plan B, plan C that you don't even know about waiting for you. And so what happened was I noticed I'm staring with my physical eyes, staring at the green grass underneath me. Beautiful green grass. That's all I see. And then the pain was so great by that point. I'm saying, Mother Earth, is it okay if I just let this go into you?
Yeah.
And she opened up the green like a curtain. I'm no longer seeing the green grass. It opens up just like a curtain, and it's this velvety, infinite blackness. and then opens up to me and just starts almost like taking all the stuff that was in my heart and my chest, and I can see it as it's going down. It's little bits and pieces of thousands of people I gave healings to over my life, and I didn't totally release and clean out everything I took on.
Interesting.
So little residue.
And with you, I just can't, I look at you, you're so vibrant, I can't imagine you having gout in every corner of your body. So what were you doing? I mean, just to delve in a little bit on that. Yeah.
That's what all the doctors
like, what is this? Or maybe the spirit had you do that so you could leave and have that experience. They had to say, what can we give Michael to get him popping out of that body?
How can we kill him off?
Yeah, how can we kill him off in, in an interesting way?
I mean, there's no true cause in the body or in the physical world. The cause is inside of our beingness.
Okay.
Spirit is the only cause. And we are spirit.
Right.
We're limitless. We can cause or create anything. So, yes, how I healed the gout, definitely diet was a huge part.
Okay.
Even though my diet, I was a vegan vegetarian.
That's like me. I'm like, I haven't had gout yet.
Yeah. Well, you see now, it's not just that the diet helps, but it's not the cause.
Okay.
Bad diet, we have so much pollution. We have so much electronic frequencies. We've got so much
stuff. We're bombarded.
Yeah, nuclear stuff, And so anything, bacteria, virus, everything is all part of the seeming cause. The science will say it's the cause. But in truth, what science causes, this is the cause of this illness, is this effect. A virus is an effect. It affects cells of the body a certain way. Diet is an effect. Food is an effect that affects the physical body when you ingest it a certain way. And it affects different people with different genetic makeup differently.
Right.
And so, but ultimately, there's people who can eat, half a cow every meal and drink all kinds of alcohol. I didn't do any of that stuff.
Right.
And so my cardiologist said about my heart attack and stuff, he said, I don't have anything to tell you. The lab reports, your blood tests, everything. You should be the poster child for Dr. Dean Ornich's heart healthy lifestyle and program and fitness. Yet here you go and drop dead.
Right. Right.
So, my mom dropped dead when she was getting ready to go to a golf tournament the next morning in the middle of the night because she was ready.
Right. She's ready.
Hers was a beautiful death.
Oh.
And
because she's got, I do hope that would happen to me, just drop dead, so you don't have to have a lingering. But I'm very intrigued with the way you'll laugh about it and the way you talk about it, so lighthearted, because you know firsthand that there is no death. We just move out of this shell and on to the next adventure. So you're not taking it with too much seriousness.
No. And like I mentioned, there was fear when I had to make that decision, with, living an unconditional life. I have to be able to relate no matter what. And so it's not like I don't have any fears.
Okay.
In fact, the second heart attack I had, which I didn't die from.
Right.
I was here.
You're here now.
I was going back and forth,
okay.
The veil's very thin at that point, so I'm got one foot in the graveyard, so to speak, and one foot over here. But I still had a great time, like with the ER nurse. When these things happen, most of the time, I get given the most amazing people. It doesn't matter what position they occupy.
Right.
But in that case, it was the ER nurse. And she had amusement. She laughed with me. And I'm hooked up to everything, right? Once I got there. And when the blood pressure went down, the pulse was down to 10. Blood pressure was something over 15.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much dead.
Right.
And I'm going way into the light. And And I'm going, no, I have to stay. See, this time, I don't have that choice, the luxury of you get to stay or go, because I'm on a new contract.
Okay.
This is like a new life. And I'm just barely getting started on that. So I'm working hard to be here. So I'm going, okay, well, everybody who has heart trouble, they're trying to reduce their blood pressure, right? I'm going, bring it up, bring it up. And so then this wonderful nurse brings, I used to be a nurse, so I know, this huge hypodermic. It's about, this big. The needle itself is long enough to penetrate your chest all the way into your heart.
Yeah.
It's the one that they jab into your heart and
Right.
for last ditch effort to keep you alive. And she brings the box, and I know immediately what it is.
Right.
And I'm going, oh no.
No.
And she goes, this is just insurance.
Okay.
I'm not even going to open the box. And when the blood pressure and everything's just kind of plummeting, she opens the box.
Okay.
Takes it out. She says, don't worry, I'm just getting it ready, just in case.
Just in case.
We're not going to let it get there, but just in case. I said, great, let's keep it,
Right.
just in case.
Right.
And then she gets everything ready. I said, okay, I'm not going to go there. Shh. And brought everything got back.
Okay.
And she says, great, we'll just put it in the corner now,
Right.
just in case.
Yeah.
And after that, there's no problem. But it was that kind of a condition. But on the way there in the ambulance was where I got to experience this tremendous insight, where once the ambulance came, because this one, I got the heart attack when I was driving 70 miles an hour on the freeway
Oh my gosh.
in the fast lane.
Okay.
So when it started, this time, because of my previous experience, I knew, oh no, this is another one.
Yeah.
And it's tough to drive a car. So I have to move over 3 lanes to get to the exit lane. And I'm going, I don't know where I am, but I got to exit.
Yeah.
I'm a hazard, right?
Right.
And so I got to get help. I got to get exit off the interstate. I get off and I see a choice of Denny's, a convenience store, a gas station, and another gas station. And I go, okay, I need a parking lot that's safe. And I need to get out of the car. I need to make a phone call. Okay, I'll go to Denny's. There's a patch of grass there. So the amazing thing, I'm just barely keeping it together in terms of one step in front of the other. I get out of the car, I go to the grass, and the grass, it's just got pee stain, dog pee stain, dog pee stain.
Yeah.
It's covered with pee stains. It's all yellow. And I go, oh, that's not very nice.
Right.
So I just kind of sat down next to it, and I call Raphael on the speed dial. Well, she's on the phone with somebody else.
Right.
But she was on the house phone, so she sees her phone flashing, the cell phone flashing. So she goes, I better answer this. So she cuts off the other phone and answers me, and she goes, what's going on? I said, I think I need help. I think I'm going through another heart attack. And she goes, okay, you have that nitro glycerin stuff. Never used it, never needed it. So I don't need, what's the instructions? It's sold. It's rubbed off.
Oh no.
And I said, do you remember, I think I'm supposed to put it under my tongue and hold it for some minutes.
Right.
And she said, I don't know. And then our housekeeper comes to clean the house at her house, and her husband has nitros and has heart disease. And so Raphael asked her, and I could hear her say, okay, you put 5 of them under your tongue, wait a minute. If it doesn't help, another and another, like that. And then she stops, and both Raphael and she, at the same time, yell into the phone, hang up and call 911.
Right.
And the amazing thing, the things that you have to look at these days, I hang up, and I'm about to dial 911. I got 9-1. And then, before I could push 1, I'm looking at, this is going to bankrupt us. Because we haven't even finished paying for the last one.
Right.
And we don't have regular insurance.
Right.
Just catastrophic. And it only covers 80%. And just the 20% pretty much broke us the last time.
Right.
And it took us like 5 years to pay it off. And so that's what I'm thinking about.
Right.
Because, again, gee, would it be best if I just go? Right? No, Raphael's not going to like it.
No, she'd rather pay
If I
that
go,
bill.
she's going to kill me.
Yeah.
I don't want to have that. So I dialed 911 and says, okay, we'll have to deal with it.
Yes.
And since I had already gone through the other time, no matter whether it's financial condition or physical health condition or relationship or anything, I've already committed to, I have to live, right?
Yeah.
I have to embrace it.
Yeah.
I have to approach it with joyfulness, right? I said, okay, here we go.
Okay.
And from there, everything started. So I'm on the ambulance finally. Once I got on the ambulance, I go, great, I can relax. There's nothing I can do physically anymore. It's all in their good hands. And I'm going to the right place. So I'm going to use this time. I get so little time off.
Right.
So I don't have to answer phone calls. I don't have to text. I don't have to do anything.
You have a good excuse.
I could just lie here, enjoy it, and look at it. Okay, I'm hovering back and forth. If I am going to go for some reason, am I okay with that? And I said, yeah, well, I have no fear of going. Then that gave me a whole new insight. Oh, well, just because I don't have any fear of dying physically doesn't mean I don't have any fear.
Right.
Is there something I'm more afraid of than physical death? And bam,
Whoa.
it didn't take, it just instantly, I'm seeing it right here. And it spelled it out in big letters.
Okay.
Failure.
Oh.
Rang a bell, but failure about what?
Yeah.
In what way? And I started to meditate, look inside to see, okay, what am I afraid to fail? And it's not the failure. It's the event when failure means disappointing someone, upsetting someone else. And I said, I never cared about that. Right. As long as it doesn't have to do with loss of love. So, I can trace it back to little childhood, right? What if the people most important to me didn't love me anymore because I failed? They wanted me to do something well, and I fell flat on my face. That type of failure.
Okay.
So it's very connected to if there's someone I love or feel like I need love from. And so I realized, that's why I haven't felt any kind of failure in many years, because I'm not dependent on somebody having to love me, so I have to be careful. This was all from childhood.
Yeah, and you're Japanese. You grew up in Japan, right? And isn't that society, that culture is very don't fail. It's very succeed and live up to everybody's standards, right? So
it's not even. It's very cut and dry.
Okay.
Not cut and wet. Because if you fail, here's the knife, sword.
You
just kill yourself.
Right, jump off the building. I know there are people who do commit suicide rather than disappoint their family over bad grades right?
It's an epidemic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really a tough situation. But yes, that's the background I come from.
That's the background, right. So you're dealing with that. And it's how did you come to that realization about the past lives, the reincarnation? I think most people in the spiritual community, we believe in that, but how did you actually know that?
Oh, I've known that I've known that all throughout this lifetime, but it really came into the foreground when I was in 4th grade.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is. 4th grade is what? 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Yeah. So most people are 9 or 10 in 4th grade. And I've seen it in really awake children that I meet. Around that age of 9 to 10, they start turning on their past life recall.
Okay.
Very strongly. And it could be school curriculum. For me, in fourth grade I was in a gifted class. In school, I was going back and forth between the retarded class and the gifted class. School, whoever makes the decision,
Right.
placement, class placement, knew I wasn't normal. But they couldn't figure out if I was way below normal or way above normal.
Okay.
So every year I got tossed around from the gifted to the remedial and remedial to the gifted. Well, this year, fourth grade, I was in the gifted, and the teacher was very strong into history, and especially, world history and American history. So the minute, world history generally in school starts with ancient, Mesopotamia and Egypt, Greece, that kind of stuff. Bam! I hear the term ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
The first assignment, go to the library, copy a paragraph from an encyclopedia about anything to do with ancient Egypt. Simple, right? I didn't hear any of that stuff. I heard, go write something about ancient Egypt. I couldn't wait to go home. And I went home, and I didn't hit the books. I just started drawing, writing, and I'm making a full scale, like a 3 foot, or let's see, about 3 feet by 3 feet model of ancient Egypt, complete with sand and Varathane flowing down as the Nile River and painted underneath. I stayed up all night to make this model with the pyramids, the Sphinx, other temples along the Nile River, and I made fake papyrus, bound it in leather, and wrote
this is from all
hieroglyphics.
just total recall of past life. You hadn't seen anything yet of it taught
Just
anything.
no.
Wow, downloads, yeah.
And so I just copied it the best I could and did as much of it as I could in the time allotted. I was up all night, not tired at all. I missed the school bus. I couldn't fit in the school bus with my project, so I asked my mom to drive me to school. And she did. They helped me take the stuff in the class. And an amazing thing, I turned it all in, and I was pretty confident that I was going to get a good grade, right? At the end of the class, at the end of the day, the teacher's passing back everybody's papers. Everybody else had one sheet of paper, and most everybody got A's because they did the assignment. I got a D minus because in his eyes, I failed the assignment.
Okay.
I didn't copy one paragraph from the encyclopedia. I didn't go to the library.
Wow.
But I think what really happened, it totally freaked him out.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So that's the downside of knowing too much.
Right.
But that's when I start to have a lot of past life recall. And it's not like I would try to have it. The same thing happened to me, similar thing happened to me when we were studying ancient Greece. Similar thing happened even more when we were studying American Revolution. And I had to copy the text, but I used a croquis on parchment and reproduced the Declaration of Independence.
Oh my goodness.
Copied every single signature on there. It was amazing. And I never saw the original until I was 40-something years old when I went to Washington, D.C. And it was almost the right size.
And do you know who you were in that time of the revolution? What your name was, or if you were a man or a woman, or what role?
Yes, I was a man, and I was on the committee of 5 to draft the Declaration of Independence. And the funny thing is Raphael and another friend of ours who is researching reincarnation from a more scientific basis, and he tracked me down on this. And he sends to Raphael email with, okay, does this sound like Michael now? Because this is all from him then. And I hear Raphael laughing out loud and practically rolling on the floor. And I go, what are you laughing about? And she goes, oh yeah, I just got the sheet info sheet on the person you were in the lifetime during the revolution. And he says, this is hysterical. If they change the names and put Michael Tamura on it, it sounds just like you today.
Wow, amazing. And so what was that when your psychic abilities opened up as well?
In fourth grade, the psychic ability was always there.
Okay.
Except I had no one to get validation from or communicate about. So, just like any other kid, gee, I'm the one who's wrong, right?
Right.
If nobody understands me, I'm doing something wrong.
Yes.
And so I didn't realize when I was very small, like 3, 4, 5 years old, I saw things often in geometry, very fine geometry. And it's beautiful. And it would pop up now it would be like a pop-up window on the computer.
With your eyes closed or when they're open?
Well, open.
Okay.
And if I approach somebody, adult or child, and especially if I'm approaching that person because they need communication from me. Of course, I didn't know that at that time. All I knew is I have to go talk to that person. And as I approached and got close enough, this pop-up window comes up between me and the other person, floating in the air. And it's like, I used to call it, because I was a kid, the closest thing I can think of is the jungle gym. Those structures, geometrical structures you crawl on. But it's so much more fine. Yeah. Now, I would say it's more like a geodesic dome, except it's not always a dome. And it's like those engineering diagrams, 3D, you can spin around and see it from various angles. It's very intricate, matrix of geometry about the car or whatever structure. It looks like that, except it's phosphorescent, vibrant colors, usually a green or a blue. And that pops up, and when I look at it, I can give that person a reading. As a child, I didn't know that. I just knew, you need to look at this construct between us, and then you'll know what to do next. You'll know a lot more about yourself and your life. Because I knew they were troubled. They were at a crossroads in their lives, and they didn't know where to go, what to do. And they didn't have certainty. But I thought, all you have to do is look at that, and you have total certainty where you have to go. And
well, that's interesting about that geometry, because sometimes when I'm in bed or my eyes are closed, I'll see some geometry pop up. It's like these little squares or flashing like these squares. And then I realize, my third eye must be opening. And then I say to myself, keep looking, because I don't want it to go away. So I'm so fascinated. And then it doesn't stay too long, and then it goes away.
Yes.
That squares, sacred geometry squares or something.
Exactly.
But only when my eyes are closed. Yeah.
That's communication from your higher self to your more body self.
Interesting.
Okay.
And I've seen the word letters high. The letters high. I saw another letter, a word, pop up through my third eye with my eyes closed, and I saw the letters. So, and you were saying you saw some letters, failure, those letters. So I saw those letters, and I've seen hands waving and some face. Profile of a face and some faces one night, and hands waving when my eyes were closed. I was in bed.
Yes.
And then one more thing, because I want you to speak on that. And then I heard in my ear, in my bed at night, there was no radio going anywhere. I heard a song inside my ear, like a radio song, that same night. So what is that? What's all that?
Those are 3 different things.
Okay.
In terms of technically speaking, the first one, the geometry, the sacred geometry and all that, and especially when you're falling asleep, that's where a lot of people tend to kick into that. And that's a screen kind of by the hairline. Well, I don't have much of a hairline anymore. where once I had a hairline.
Okay.
Well, people have hairline right around here. It's at an angle. Okay. It's a screen. It's a, what would you call it, a spiritual psychic screen, energetic screen, that on a clairvoyant level, if you look at people, everybody has that. And that's the screen that if you've ever seen somebody in deep meditation and they start to go really deep, their eyes flicker and their eyeballs roll up, they're looking up here. Okay. And that's what the physical eyes are trying to see, is the screen up here, because the spirit, the being, is leaving. And that's where you see that. Okay. So this is a spiritual screen. It's not where you see auras.
No.
And it's not where you saw the profiles. And it's not where you see the letters. Okay. The letters you see right here.
Yeah.
The screen is right in front of your forehead. Okay. So everybody's is a little bit different. Some further out, some bigger, some smaller. But that screen is, if I'm looking at you and reading your aura, that's where I'm seeing it, right here. But the geometry, it's up here. It's a higher frequency. And that geometry you see, why you saw it when you were falling asleep, is you're going out. And you're much more at this level of consciousness. And then why you couldn't keep it was the part of you that was wanting to keep it was more the body
back
side.
in, right. That's right.
But as you're leaving to go to sleep, you're just going to leave.
And then what about the faces and the hands waving, like spirit guides trying to say hello?
Well, that's spirit guides, and you're a medium. And so you have a high mediumship ability, natural. And so there are beings, especially when you start to go more spiritual, when you're sleeping, falling asleep, they come around. They're around you a lot anyway.
Now, you're just saying that to me because you know, as a psychically about me, that I'm a medium?
Yes.
You don't know me, so, right.
No, you have the hookups and setup of a medium.
Okay. Well, I've been working on this. So this is a fascinating conversation for people who are, there's a lot of people who are trying to develop that. And I have opened up with with Reiki and attunements, and I feel a lot of energy at the crown. I can just feel like somebody's touching my hair, or a lot of just energy. Yeah. And I love it. When I meditate, or I'm just sitting there and I can feel energy here. And I love that feeling. I hope it's a good thing that's happening. And then I can connect with my angel guide if I want to do automatic writing, but I haven't been able to get that blasted open to be a medium and hear like a James Van Praagh or something. So do you have any tips on that for us, for people who are trying to do this?
Because your thinking has to be blasted open.
Well,
if you got it blasted open, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Or maybe not blasted, but you know what I mean. Like if I connect, like I want to connect with your grandmother, and like a medium will do, and they're saying that you were wearing a red dress yesterday and that you went
Yes.
Okay.
Well, do you know, so you've seen James in action and people like that.
Right.
Well, a lot of times, if you've noticed him doing that in a demonstration, there's so many beings wanting to communicate. He has to eliminate everybody else so he can focus on one.
Or on the phone, I hear him on Hay House Radio doing a one-on-one.
Yeah. So he's going, okay, everybody, back off a little bit. I'm talking to this one, right?
Right.
And that's connected to that person on the phone or in the audience. And what happens to you is just like you saw all those faces. Yeah. It's like everybody talking to you all at once. Okay. You're not going to understand anything.
They were going like this. They're trying to go. Oh, and I've heard garbling in my ear a couple times too. And I want that to come back, and they haven't come back yet. And it scared me a little because I didn't know if that was a lower energy going to a bunch of people talking in my left ear. So, when I was laying in bed, it always happens in bed.
Yeah. Well, just like, you broadcast, you record on video and audio. Yeah. You have to adjust your microphone, volume, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so you have to adjust the feed.
Okay.
Right? And if it's too loud, too soft, or the frequency isn't right. Why you hear, that's clairaudience.
Yeah.
That's not clairvoyance.
Right.
Clairvoyance is 6th chakra. Clairaudience is your 5th chakra, your throat. And the hookups are right here.
Okay.
Like Frankenstein's bolts. Yeah,
okay.
It's right here. And so if you're talking to, let's say, a spirit guide or a spirit of somebody who's gone on, most spirit guides are spirit guides because they know how to talk to you, somebody in a body. They'll communicate to you spirit to spirit, but through your clairaudience most of the time. Then they'll work with you until you start to hear more clearly. But most of clairaudience isn't the same kind of hearing like you're hearing me right now.
No, it's like in your head and you wonder, is that just me? Or right.
Yeah. So most people dismiss it because they think they're just thinking, or, I don't want this thought. Yeah. Or, why am I thinking about this?
Right.
they're either, if it's on a thought level, real simple thought level, it's usually telepathy. They're picking up on telepathic thoughts from other people. If it's on a clairaudient level, it's more like, when you sub-vocalize when you're reading a book?
Yes.
And it's a novel with characters, and you start to imagine this woman's, a little girl speaking in a little girl voice, and the big man speaking in a big man voice. And so you're imagining all this stuff. But in clairaudience, it's more like that.
Right.
It's
That's a great
level
analogy.
of hearing.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So don't dismiss those things.
Right.
And you're trying too hard because you had this expectation of doing what James or John Holland or, Edgar Casey or anybody else did. They're all doesn't do it differently. But you have to find your way of doing it. And so you think, it's out there. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
That's exactly the opposite. You have to know with certainty, I'm here.
Okay.
It's going to happen. It's already happening 100%.
And then what about all that that movement I feel up there, the crown? What is that? Is that just opening of the crown chakra? Is it someone touching my head? What?
Yes. It's not so much someone touching your head, but when you just talked about that, what I saw was when that happens to you recently, there's like 3 or 4 beings that are going, hello, hey, and look at me, how about me? And it could be everything from a spirit guide wanting your attention to give you guidance, or it could be just rubberneckers.
Okay.
Going, hey, you're a medium. I'd like to, it's like open mic night.
Right, open mic. Oh, that is so cute.
Is this where the karaoke is tonight?
Right, right.
A microphone.
I can feel it now. I feel a little tingly now while we're talking. That's so funny.
I see 3 beings.
You do? Oh my God.
Circling around you.
But I have 2 angels that I talk to that I know.
Yes.
But I use a communication board with the alphabet. Some people would call it a Ouija board. It's a communication board. That's how I connect with them. And then I can also get off and start doing automatic writing to hear. I still need some focal point with my hands to hear it. So that's what I do.
I see a lot of professional mediums having a notepad. They're scribbling.
Okay.
They're not writing down notes usually.
Right.
They're just scribbling because that keeps their physical, mental, intellectual attention on this.
Yeah.
Then they could be free to get the messages a lot more clearly. So everybody develops different techniques that will help them. And with you, these particular 3 beings operate on they're there to help increase your mediumship awareness.
Awesome.
Okay?
Awesome.
So there's certain parts, it's on a genetic level. When I said you're already wired, it's a genetic wiring, energetically on the body end of things. And then people who don't have that, they can study it and try it. They'll do a little bit, but it's not going to be on a full level.
So you think, mine, when you say I have it on it, so I was born with that, and then some people aren't born with it connected? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And that's why you chose the parents you chose.
Oh, interesting.
For better or for worse.
Okay. So we all have, I've never met anyone who didn't have a challenge with family at all, because we come here, we've got to work on things, right? So we all have issues or problems with, somehow in some challenges. Now, okay, so I loved when you were speaking at the event, the Bill Bennett's event. We had the panel, and you gave a fantastic explanation of the pineal gland. And now, is the pineal gland, because I do a lot of videos on it, I do a lot of study on it. Now, for myself or anybody who is trying to develop that more, is it really all to do with the pineal gland? Is that how I was able to see that geometry, those faces? Do I need to cleanse it, open it more? And you said something about some crystals or something, so I'll let you take it from here on how important that is. And yours must have been open, or as a kid, or what's your take on that, or what's the
it was since
professional opinion?
Since I grew up in Japan, there's always monosodium glutamate.
Oh, you guys did?
I always say that's what made me psych. Anyway, the pineal gland, just like with everything else, it's never just one thing. Okay. But the pineal gland is the connection in the body. So pineal gland is the connection to your chakra system, the energy chakra of your sixth chakra,
Okay.
behind your forehead.
Third eye.
And each chakra has endocrine gland, a
Yes.
ductless gland that is the kind of the anchor into the body. So the endocrine glands are like the gateway between the psychic level of your body and the physical level of your body, and then the nervous system and the whole bit. And so if you'll notice, each of the chakras down from the neck down are around a nerve plexus, a nerve network. And like the solar plexus, that's where the solar plexus nerve plexus is, and that's where your third chakra is. And the heart plexus is where your heart chakra is. So, but the sixth chakra is the pineal gland. There's no nerve plexus because it's in the middle of the brain. Big nerve plexus. And it's one of the master glands, if you will, between that and the pituitary, that's a little bit in front. And so between the two, they're very closely related to the sixth and seventh chakras. And so just like, we can talk about the circulatory system of the body, like as if it's a separate thing, all is by itself. But if you separate it out from the rest of the body, it won't work.
Right.
The same goes with the chakras and the endocrine glands. So you need all of it for all your different psychic abilities to fully engage, so to speak, on a physical consciousness level. But what's called the third eye is definitely related to the pineal. And the pineal is called the pineal gland because it's like a pine cone. It's shaped like a small pine cone with a tip, the narrow tip where the pine cone goes, and then the broader base. And the tip has this little, if you look on a clairvoyant level, it has this little, like, those rubber nipples that the babies suck on.
Right.
And it's pretty chewy, but there's a little cavity inside.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, some of them do. And so this little thing in the front of the pineal gland has this little cavity, and inside of it are these 7, like, crystals or grains of sand, little grits.
Crystalline something.
Right? Yeah, crystalline grits, if you will. And when you start running your energy, and that's what a lot of the people who meditate to raise the kundalini energy from the base of the spine, when it goes through the throat, goes through the brain, through the pineal gland, and starts to vibrate the tip of that pineal gland, it starts to vibrate those 7 little grits and crystals, grains of sand, so to speak, and it starts to shake like those shakers.
The rattle.
The rattle. Yeah. It shakes like the rattle, and that starts to vibrate, and that's the opening of the third eye, what's traditionally called the opening of the third eye. And when that starts to happen, then a person starts to see auras. It's not exactly everybody is going to see the same thing in the same order, but generally they'll start to see colors, they'll start to see light. Some of them will, as it opens more, they'll start to see spirit distinct from bodies. Right?
Okay.
And so then, as you're communicating with people like you and me, you can see the body's still there. You can see the body with your physical eyes, but you see who the spirit is, who the soul is, and what does the soul look like that's inhabiting this body. And, there's, guides around that person.
Right, yeah.
Who don't have physical bodies,
Yes.
but you can see them. And again, everything is vibration, and we have a certain spectrum of vibration. So with the pineal gland and the third eye, you see what would be the psychically visual vibration. But again, just like we were talking earlier about your mediumship, where you assume, I'm not there yet. I'm not where James Van Praagh is yet.
Right.
Well, true. That's practice and use and experience and mastery. But the ability we already have 100% within us.
It's just not developed. So meditation probably is the best thing. I always hear meditation,
Yes.
meditation. Yeah.
Meditation is always the first.
Yes.
Grounding is very important.
Okay.
Not when you're doing the mediumship, but every other time. If you're not grounded, then you get into trouble when you dabble in mediumship without good instruction, and you don't know who you're talking to.
Right.
You're a little concerned. Well, what if it's kind of lower energy vibration beings?
I was hearing. Right.
Yeah, but one thing that everyone could do, even if they don't think they're psychic, is when they do hear something, what the voice is saying, spirit always moves toward and helps you toward wholeness. Beings that are called lower beings are because they're ego-driven. Even if they don't have a physical body, they still have an ego, right? So they're ego-driven, and anyone with or without a body that's ego-driven is going to divide and conquer. So it's going to be all about me.
Yeah.
So they could say, use things. A con artist will say, oh, it's all about you.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
For you.
Yeah.
I'm at your service.
Yes.
They can say anything, but when you start to actually, after they think they got you, you start to listen to what they tell you to do or think or whatever. It's not right. It's going the wrong direction from where you'd like to go. Then you know immediately, oh, this isn't my guide.
Yeah.
This isn't spirit that's here to help me get on my path and stay on it and get to my destination. It's someone wanting to play games for entertainment. So the more you're in touch with spirit, you're going to be joyous, happy, light, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But getting into contact will help you move up to more wholeness. That's the good feeling, is you feel more whole, more yourself. That's more spirit feeling. But the feeling of like when somebody's got a crush on somebody.
Oh yeah.
And that feels good.
Oh yeah.
But that's not spirit.
No, because that's the hormones releasing.
That's the ego going, I want. And then it feels even better when I got them, I got her.
Until then you start arguing, it goes all wrong.
Exactly. Then you can really tell.
Ego.
Oh, was that hormones and ego, or your personal desire, or was that spirit to spirit contact?
Yeah, exactly.
Spirit to spirit contact, just because something goes wrong, this is the thing I was talking about, unconditional life. Nothing changes that.
Right.
It's sunny, it's foggy, it's rainy, snowy, you're still happy.
Still happy, that's right.
The other person says things you want to hear, and the other person says things you don't want to hear, you're still happy. You still love the person.
Right, because that's why we have so much divorce and breaking up, and whether it's with work or partners, because we take that personally, what people are saying and going through.
Yeah,
so.
And then when somebody points out a truth you don't want to hear because you have it covered over with a bunch of lies, it's not going to feel good at first.
No.
It's going to feel threatening. It's going to hurt. Even physically, it's going to feel like you're hurting me.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, I used to like you, but no, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
You make me feel bad.
Which is interesting, because people shouldn't be able to make you feel anything. Just like you said,
exactly.
We're connected.
Yeah.
They can't. It's just, I'm feeling this, but they didn't make it happen.
Exactly. Why it seems like somebody made you feel bad is because they did something, they said something that pushed the button.
Triggered.
Yeah, that triggered a memory.
Right.
And has nothing to do with right now.
Could trigger the memory from childhood when you were told you weren't good enough or pretty enough or whatever. Or exactly. It triggers.
And this is why it's so important. It's getting more and more important for people to develop their clairvoyance so they can see it for themselves. That when that gets triggered, you're going, oh, that's me when I'm 4 years old. I'm not 4 years old. What am I getting all bent out of shape for? That's a 4-year-old. I'm just so tuned into this picture of me, this memory picture of me being 4-year-old and just being devastated, emotionally devastated by what my parents said or what the school teacher said or what my nanny did or whatever.
And it does. I mean, I was bullied as a kid, like in 6th grade, and it's still sometimes when I'm doing something, or I'm doing some videos, or I'm giving some advice, I'll think in the back of my head, well, who are you to do this? You're just, that's idiot Marla who they used to pull your hair out and kick and punch and tell you you're stupid and all this. And so it does stick there, and it'll come out now so many years later thinking, who are you to do this? Who are you to make a video telling people, giving advice? And it's so interesting how it can go all the way back to 10 years old,
Yes. Yeah. But the difference is even though you felt that, heard that, those voices, those thoughts, you went ahead and did it.
I did it anyway. I says, well, I might help someone. Someone might need my message. So I did it anyway. So if they don't like it, they can turn it off.
Exactly. And so then, and they don't have to suffer by watching you if they don't like it, right? Then that's going to make more room for people who want to watch you, listen to you, everything.
The right people who need my message,
And that's the key difference. You could have just said, oh, I'm not going to do it because I can't, or it's not, I'm no good. But the difference is you go, oh, that's just the reaction. That's mechanical. That's just from my past. No big deal. But that doesn't mean you don't feel it just as strongly as somebody else. Doesn't mean you don't hear those thoughts, right? Saying, don't do it. You're gonna fall flat on your face. You're gonna make a fool out of yourself. All that stuff. And you just gotta go, oh, thank you. In fact, Raphael, my wife, and I have a new radio show called Living the Miracle with Michael and Raphael Tamura, and on the internet. And just this morning we had a live show. It was about, when in doubt, first laugh and be kind.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Then the doubt goes away.
Right.
People think that if they're not feeling good, if they're not feeling happy and joyful, if somebody didn't say something really funny, there's no point in laughing. They don't realize laughing is a choice. The same choice that you made many times when the voices and the thoughts and the feelings said, no, and you said, no, I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
The reaction is, don't do it. And, oh, it's going to be bad. But your choice is, no, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do the best job I'm going to do.
Right.
And laughing is the same choice. I'm in pain, but I'm going to laugh anyway.
Yeah. I know. I love how you laugh about it. I drop dead, and then you start cracking up,
Yeah. Because you should have seen how much I was laughing when I was, quote, dead.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I know I've kept you a long time, but I just want to touch on one more thing. You talk about, on your website, it says about making nightly sojourns out of your body, and many times I do too. Sometimes I'll be laying in bed again. Everything's done in bed, and I feel myself sometimes that vibration really, really hard, and then I feel myself just floating above my legs even. My energetic legs are going, woo, and I'm floating above, and then again, my brain, go, and then I fall back in. And sometimes I did go all the way, but more often or not, it's just like vibration, floating, and then back in, like I'm on training wheels or something. So what do you do? Are you purposely going out, or you just pop out at night and go do things?
Oh, I just hit the sack.
Just goes out. Yeah, it goes out.
And so what calls you back is effort. Effort is on a psychic and spiritual level, effort is the biggest killer.
Oh, effort trying to go, saying, go ahead, it's okay, right. I'm like...
Just let go.
Just just try to be blank and let it, But that's fun, isn't it?
Don't try to be blank.
Don't try. So do you see, when you're out of your body, are you having meetings with these other guides and beings, or are you going and healing people, or what are you mostly doing?
All of the above.
Okay.
There's so much, and this is why even my advanced students, they don't quite have the certainty because they're still thinking linear. Yeah. So when they come back, they think, oh, did I remember a dream, a vivid dream? That's just one thing in a linear sequence.
Right.
When you're out, you're not linear at all.
Right.
So you could be doing 100 things at once.
Wow.
100 very deep things at once.
Well, okay, here's an example. So you don't always, I don't think you always feel yourself go out, because one night, this was amazing. I put it in my book. The Buddha made me do it. One night, all of a sudden, I'm standing. I realize I wasn't really physical standing, but I'm standing in the corner of my room, and I see a light coming out of the corner, this light coming, and I'm scared at first, but I say, just look, just keep looking. And I said, it's my dad. I realized it was my dad, and I'm screaming, yes. It's dad, it's dad, it's dad. I said, my dad's coming out of this light. And I wondered why my husband wasn't waking up. I was yelling. He was just laying there sleeping. Then all of a sudden, I'm back in bed. My dad's sitting on the edge of my bed, in a brown cloak and a hood, and he had a thinner face and a goatee, and I scrambled to the edge of bed. I grabbed his hand. I said, I love you, I love you, I love you. And he's looking at me. His eyes were kind of teary, and he was nodding like a knowing. He didn't speak, but his knowing. And I was like, I'm with Dad. And then he was gone, and I was back in my bed. But that happened like 3-4 years ago. It could have happened just 5 minutes ago. It's that vivid, and I knew it was not a dream. And then I asked a psychic that I'd met, we were chatting, I said, what do you think? He goes, well, you met him on the astral plane. You were out of your body. You were in astral. But I never felt my body popping out. It just...
No, it's because really what people think of, feeling it, is more the part that's not out of the body yet that feels stuff.
Yeah, right.
Once you're out of the body, you're not going to feel the body at all.
You don't feel any... Yeah,
you're going to be... What body?
Right.
Oh, that's right. I have to go back to that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just bad. And those are those times when it's like these individual little things that happen that, because dreams usually they happen, they're changing, they're morphing, you maybe forget it later. But this was an individual instance. So I know that it was, it was something. So how can people work with you? What do you mean your students? Do you give in-person workshops, online? Tell us how people can connect with you? What do you do?
Okay. Well, first, we have a brand new website.
Okay.
www.michaeltamura.com. Through the website, you'll be able to get through to our office, everything else, newsletter. We have regular weekend seminars. We'll be having one in Los Angeles in May, first weekend, Calabasas. And then those are in person. We have a lot of teleclasses on the telephone. Okay. So you'll find out about all that in the event section of our website. And
can people have readings? Do you do readings? Do you do private?
I don't. Raphael does.
Okay.
Us, you. We're so busy. Yeah. But I retired from doing private sessions 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you used to do healing sessions and readings, correct?
Yes. And now I just do it in groups.
Right. Beautiful. And then your books and everything. So I'll link up everything. Yes. And you guys get on his email list, his newsletter, and find out what's going on. And thank you so much for sharing this amazing knowledge and the stories of your near death. And oh my gosh, it's. I think this is the longest interview I've done because you're so fascinating.
Oh, great! Yes, that seems to be every lifetime.
Is it? It's every. Yeah, exactly. Gosh. Oh, thank you so much, and thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
Put your comments below. Do you astral travel at night? Are you trying to open up your medium mystic experience? Let me know in the comments, and much love to everybody.